The beginning of the journey occurred at least 4 or 5 years ago. Wheatley High School was rated academically unacceptable. We failed to meet AYP under No Child Left Behind. We had a low completion rate, low college going rate, as well as low expectations for students. We needed to act and act immediately. We knew we had to do something, so therefore we looked at several different reform models. We looked at breaking ranks too. We also looked at high schools at work from the Southern Regional Education Board. We were all sold on high schools at work. And the components of high schools at work reform model is implementing differentiated instruction, as well as improving the quality of instruction and reconfiguring our ninth graders to provide them with extra support in math and ELA, as well as expanding the curriculum to include literacy strategies across the curriculum. As we moved on our journey, we recognized there were some things that were not working. So whatever wasn't working, we needed to fix and stop doing it. Small learning communities was one of those areas where teachers were planning together and looking at individual students, but they weren't planning by departments. Therefore, we replaced small learning communities with professional learning communities, where we look at the actual content. We also had block schedule. Students were going to classes every other day. We had a large population of students that were absent on a consistent basis. As a result of their poor attendance, there was gaps of information being provided to students. So we abandoned the block schedule and went with a traditional schedule. We had teachers who were not basically good for kids, so we had to cut our loss and move on. We had 3 lunch periods, one while, and those 3 lunch periods were not working. There were a lot of kids skipping and wouldn't go back to class, so as a result, we ended up with 2 lunch periods. It minimized the issues considerably. But Wheatley High School needed to do more. We saw some signs of life in our performance, however, not significant enough to be where we needed. So Wheatley High School developed some additional systems. One is the zones of accountability. We comprised of 4 primary zones for instructional purposes and 1 zone to monitor the activities. So we have the blue zone. In the blue zone, the administrator supervises math and career and technology. In the yellow zone, the administrator supervises English language arts. The green zone, science and special ed. And the red zone, social studies. The purpose of the zones were for administrators to provide feedback to teachers and monitor the activities of students. The purple zone was exclusively set for the principal, who was the CEO of our organization, and to ensure that certain things were taking place. We looked at the instructional curriculum and realized that teachers needed to plan more often together. So we came up with a common planning time, where teachers would have a planning and a conference period. During this particular time period, teachers would discuss instruction, student work, and develop lesson plans. In addition to that, they developed a menu of interventions. Furthermore, they provided feedback review from observations from each other. Administrators also had opportunities or provided feedback ongoing to teachers. Professional development training was also used during the common planning time, as well as extra time and support when applicable. There was a major focus on professional development, whether it was a David Ramirez training, data training, classroom management, curriculum instruction training, but an onslaught of training was held over the last several years to help teachers meet with success as they teach their students. The goal of this training is to be able to have teachers take that information and utilize it in a classroom. We also assess the students on an ongoing basis to determine whether there were deficits, and if so, provide interventions accordingly. In addition to that, students began to tutor other students because they wanted to see the growth and development and their peers. One of the most prominent things that we've done is to develop a data monitoring system. Administrators observe teachers at least 15 times a week. Administrators are responsible for 15 observations a week with a scoring rubric. Also, a comprehensive data room is provided where administrators and teachers can look at the data that's prevalent to what they're doing in the classroom. Administrators and teachers conducted teacher data talks to review data that's pertinent to the learning process. Credit audits were conducted to review credit deficits and determine which students needed what credits and if they were on target to graduate. Every new student entering Wheatley after September 1st, we interviewed as a part of the student entry interview process. We also worked hard to engage the community as well as parents. For student interview process, we reviewed demographic information. We looked at the grade level, the age of the student. In terms of previous campuses, we've always made phone calls. We evaluated the transcript to determine credit efficiency. We discussed plans for students after graduation, if they're interested in extracurricular activities, and we also determined if they're on papers, meaning if they're on probation, etc. Wheatley is thrilled to have a number of grants that have helped us, whether that's the High Schools at Work grant, Texas High School Project grant, Coca-Cola Valley Youth grant, which is phenomenal. Kids receive money to tutor elementary students across the street, as well as receive a local credit. We have funds for clubs and organization grants as well, which is a neat package because we discover that students enjoy staying after school if you're given something meaningful to do. We also have a phenomenal Preparing to Dream grant, which helps us with mathematics, the delivery of math instruction, and the training. The grant also provided us with some resources. Data analysis review sessions by the HISD research team has been phenomenal in this area. The standards for tracking student progress has been helpful, and recommendations and plans for improvement are always encouraged. Bubblegum sessions. We're always working with students to determine their strengths and weaknesses and their needs. We're peaking above the horizon at this point. Wheatley is the third most improved high school in the greater Houston area, and this source came from children at risk. Texas education acceptable, and we met adequately the progress. However, we need to do it again. Historical data shows that Wheatley High School is improving in each and every subject matter. Our number of graduates has increased steadily each and every year since 2006. Completion rates have steadily increased. College going rate has steadily increased. Scholarship money has steadily increased. And the college preparation activities, especially with the number of AP exams being offered. The bonus is that Wheatley High School has Project Lead the Way program, just received full certification. First HISD school to receive that distinction. We have some awesome career and technology strands, whether it's auto tech, health science, technology magnet. Fully engaged community and alumni. We have a wonderful Vivid parent room. We launched a new website this past year, and we increased the athletic signees for boys and girls. So our goal is for the legacy of Phyllis Wheatley High School to continue. Phyllis Wheatley High School. It's where performance counts right now.